quilters, and welcome. I am here. This is day one of the Charlotte's Web Sew Along, and I am really excited to get going on this. If you haven't made a spider web quilt before, I hope you enjoy this. We have a couple of methods to share. I'm going to be doing the muslin foundation method, but maybe you are a paper piecer, and if you like to do foundation paper piecing, then that is perfectly fine too. So, today is day one, and I just wanted to welcome you here, introduce myself. My name is Sherry Noel, and if you have quilted with me before, welcome back. And if you are new, hello, and thank you for joining. So we are going to get into the pattern a little bit, and I'm going to walk through some of my fabric choices today. And then, I'll have a couple more posts anyway, and I'll walk through, constructing the block with the muslin foundation, and we'll go from there. So, welcome. I'm going to get the pattern printed, and we are going to go through and I'm going to explain a few things to you, and I want you to take a little time to either dig through your stash and get yourself some strings of fabric, or maybe you have some fabric that you think would be perfect for this and you want to just cut into it. Whatever the case, I will walk through my block with you and tell you about my fabric choices and give you a little bit of time to think about it, go to your stash, and then I will be back with another video on how to put the block together. So let's get right into the pattern. I have my pattern printed off. Mine is going to be Halloween. If you can't tell, I mean, maybe you can see or can't see the fabrics here, but this is actually fabric called Beautiful that was designed by a very dear friend of mine, Pammy Jane. She is designing for Dear Stella Fabrics, and this fabric is currently available. So, and I actually even know somebody out of Canada who is kitting this. And I will put a link somewhere so you can find her shop if that works for you and you want to go right along with these fabrics, which, I mean, I can't think of any, more fitting fabric for a spider web quilt. But anyway, okay, so this is the Charlotte's Web quilt. On the cover here, I'm showing it in a 60 by 60 inch design. All the blocks are 12.5 inches unfinished and 12 inches when finished in the quilt. You can really make as few or as many of these blocks as you want. Once you know how to do it, you are all set to go. So I have included instructions on cutting and fabric requirements for 2 sizes. So for the 60 by 60, which is a really nice throw size, and for a 36 by 36, which could be either a baby quilt or a large table topper. I'm making it for my new grandson for his first Halloween, so I'm really excited. Okay, so this is the design, and you can see this block. You can see the corners of it are what is forming these spider webs here. So let's dive into it here. I'm just going to go over a couple of things in the pattern. Here, I'm just talking about using a muslin foundation. That is how I'm making my blocks. And you can also use a foundation paper piece pattern, which I've included, but I'm not going to be doing the instructions on that, but I do know somebody who is, so I will try to link to all that information. So for each block, we're making two of these units and 2 of these units. You can mimic my colors you can go totally scrappy. So all these choices are yours. Here are the material requirements. I do recommend that you get a 12.5-inch square quilter's ruler or larger. I do also offer an acrylic template for this pattern to cut these shapes. So you can find that in my shop. Here we have, you know, the cutting instructions for 1 block, for 9 blocks, for 25 blocks. More cutting instructions, and then we get into making the pattern. I'm going to go through all of this with you in the next video. I'm going to actually walk through making a block. This is just finishing. Here you have a little coloring section. So if you want to try to plan out your colors, you can do that, or just get an idea of what your colors would look like. And we've got the paper template, and we have the foundation paper piecing template there. So that's the pattern, and I will link to that so you have that. And I just wanted to show you my blocks. So this fabric that I actually had left over from another project, it was a fat quarter bundle, plus I think I had a little bit of yardage, and I had some left over, and I thought, oh, this would be perfect. So I've been working on my blocks, and I'm happy to report that I've just about made it to the end and had just enough fabric, so it worked out perfectly. So I wanted to share with you, I actually have 2 blocks here. So this first one I made originally, and I started with purple here because I had the most of that fabric, and then, you know, I have black on these sides. But I had it up on my design wall for a couple of days. I made 2 of these blocks. And when I was looking at it from a distance, I realized that this was just all fading in, even my purple. So it really appeared that my circles, my spider webs, it looked like they were actually starting here, so they were smaller. So I moved these brighter fabrics out closer to the black, or next to the black. And this is what I came up with. And I like this much better because it makes these spider webs appear, you know, bigger than this one did. You know, this one, it almost looked like they were beginning right here. So just a word to the wise when you're choosing your fabrics to, you know, maybe try to use some contrast in this first section. Now obviously I've gone with, you know, a dark center. I used 2 and 2, like 1 fabric, 2 fabrics, and, you know, rotated them. But, you know, you could go totally scrappy in the center. I'm probably going to make another one of these, and what I'm thinking, because I have a lot of low volume fabrics, I will probably cut myself a whole bunch of these in low volume and totally mix them up, you know, not plan anything out. And also I might make this all scrappy, because when I go through making the block with the muslin, and it's probably the same with the foundation paper piecing, it's rather therapeutic and nice to just sit and, you know, sew a couple blocks. Like I would do a couple of these sections in the morning, and it was just very nice. There's not a lot of thinking. The muslin foundation does not, you know, is not going to give you the perfect result that a foundation paper piecing pattern will. And by that I mean, you know, most of these points will match up pretty good, but you may not hit all of these. So I'm totally okay with that, and I feel like Probably some of the very early quilts that were made were not perfect. And I might even show you a way that you could use different size strips if you want. So I'll walk through what I'm doing. And in the pattern, I've given you cutting instructions for each of these pieces. So if you're cutting your pieces and prepping everything, you'll know what size to cut them. But when I first started making them, I was just taking my strips and, you know, putting it on here, trimming it off, and then sewing it. So if you are working from stash and you have long strips of fabric, you know, you can certainly work that way, and that is very fun too. So, you know, make it your own, choose whatever fabrics you like. You know, maybe this is all scrappy. Maybe you have, you know, just one color that is uniform in the same place on each section, or maybe your whole quilt is blues and greens, or, you know, depending on what colors you like, who you're making it for, if you're making it for a holiday or not. It's really the sky's the limit. So I would just plan on, what are you going to use for this section? Are you going to make it scrappy? Are you going to, you know, cut from just a couple of fabrics? And then decide what you're going to do for out here. So I'm actually very excited to get started and make another one with all my low volume fabrics. And I could probably make a couple for Christmas gifts, and I would enjoy that because, like I said, it's a bit meditative once you get sewing and everything's set up. Okay, so this is the pattern. I want you to go ahead and find your fabrics and decide what you're going to do. Dig through your stash. And then I will be posting another video here for you soon on making the blocks. And I will walk through all of that with you, and I'm very excited to get going. So, thank you for joining me, and I hope to see you again soon. All the links should be in the post here for you, and go ahead and start digging in your stash.